Welcome to Biz Wire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. China's Premier Li Keqiang is in Ethiopia for the first visit on his four-nation African tour. Chinese state media is reporting that some 60 deals will be signed in areas covering job training, manufacturing, agriculture, as well as energy. Diplomatically, the trip is also intended to mark the 50th anniversary of famed former Premier Zhou Enlai's visit to 10 countries in Africa around New Year's in 1964. Ahead of his 8-day journey, Premier Li was, for a Chinese leader, unusually candid when asked about the difficulties in the relationship between China and the 50-plus nations of Africa. He described disputes as part of growing pains associated with increased ties that saw trade volumes increase to over $200 billion last year. Li says Chinese companies operating abroad should be held accountable for their actions and, quote, shoulder due responsibility for local communities and the environment. Now, later on his trip, the premier will be the guest of honor at the World Economic Forum in Abuja, Nigeria. Security will be tight for the event, dubbed the African Davos, after deadly bombings have shaken the country. Many point to Nigeria as an example of the dangers and opportunities of a quickly rising Africa. The Ethiopia stop is notable as the country doesn't hold the energy or mineral wealth that China is purported to be so hungry for. As in other African states, China is building up a manufacturing base there to take advantage of growing demand for consumer goods on the continent. Li will also visit Angola, which, after its civil war ended a little over a decade ago, China set about the task of rebuilding the country's critical infrastructure after their credit was declined by the World Bank and IMF. Many of the billions in Chinese loans for roads, schools, hospitals, and telecom equipment were backed with natural resource wealth. Angola is now China's second largest source of imported oil after Saudi Arabia. Kenya is the premier's last stop before returning to Beijing. There's a lot of misconceptions surrounding what China is doing in Africa's many countries, some positive, some negative. So we'll be returning to this subject as China's premier continues his tour. We'll end today's story with one of the most thoughtful researchers on Sino-Africa, professor at SOAS in London, Stephen Chan, who says that because of their own experience growing out of poverty, the Chinese recognize the power that aspiration has in enabling people to lift themselves up in ways that those of us in the West may not fully appreciate. You're watching Biz Wire on the Blue Ocean Network, China's first and only privately owned English-language broadcast media. Our full episode can be seen on our website, BONTV/biz-wire. Let's turn now to Neil Jones for a quick look at a few stories that are buzzing through the markets.